Good morning, friends. In this today's session, we are going to discuss about what is the major difference between conductors, semiconductors, and insulators. Today, we are going to deal with what is the main difference between conductors, semiconductors, insulators? What is mean by Fermi energy gap? Why some of the compounds are behaving like conductors? Why are semiconductors? Why insulation? Such kind of categorization is there. What is the reason for that? We are going to discuss now. And the next is about how semiconductors are classified. What is the mechanism of semiconduction? Then how can we improvise the conduction property of semiconductors, and what are the major applications of semiconductors? All these we are going to discuss in this session. Okay, first is about what is semiconductor, conductor, and insulator. Here, a useful way to visualize the differences between conductor, insulator, semiconductor, we are plotting the energy difference here. Okay, so here by seeing this picture, we can easily identify this plot. So in this energy increasing order in electron volts we are taking here. In case of conductor, valency bond in the sense outer electronic shell is called valency shell. This valency shell and the next empty orbital is called conduction shell. So valency band to conduction band, if there is no gap and overlap between the valency and conduction band is possible, that is called a conductor. Okay, in case of semiconductor, valency bond to conduction band, there is some energy gap. At least one electron volt energy gap is present between valency and conduction band. We can consider the material as semiconductor. And the third possibility is insulator. So insulator in the sense, in between valency and conduction band, the energy gap is extremely high. 5 electron volts of energy gap is there. That's why it is very difficult to jump the electron or excite the electron from valency bond to conduction band. Those are called insulators. In order to pass the current, electron should be mobilized. Electron should be excited from valency to conduction band. In case of conductor, the energy gap is not there. That's the reason why electrons are easily moving from valency to conduction band. So here ease of electron passage is high and flow of electrons nothing but current. In case of semiconductors, the energy gap is there 1 electron volt. Under normal condition, only partial conduction is possible. When we are rising temperature, their energy will be raised and they get converted into normal conductors. Even by rising temperature or by doping or by adding impurities like what impurities of what third group elements or fifth group elements, their conduction properties are increased. That process is called doping. We will discuss in detail about these semiconductors. And the next is about valency to conduction band. Energy gap is extremely high in case of insulators. So that's the reason why these are not able to conduct the current, because there is no excitement of electrons from valency to conduction band. Same figure is represented in another form. Valency to conduction band gap is very high, called insulator. Valency to conduction band energy is 1 electron volt, that is semiconductor. Valency to conduction band, there is no gap or overlap is possible, called conductor. The energy gap between valency to conduction band is called Fermi energy gap. Based on this Fermi energy gap, only we can classify all materials into conductors, semiconductors, and insulators. The distance between valency to conduction band is called the Fermi energy gap. Now let us see the definition of all these materials. Conductor is nothing but, so conductor is a material which contains movable electronic charges. Metallic conductor, all metals are considered as a good conductors of electricity. Metallic conductors such as copper or aluminium, movable charged particles are electrons. There are continuous availability of electrons in their closely spaced orbitals. Valency to conduction band is a close arrangement will be there. Conductors like metals have the valency bond overlap and the conduction band valency bond to conduction band overlap is there. These are called metals. And next is about semiconductors. Semiconductors are nothing but they have small energy gap, that is 1 electron volt of energy gap between valency to conduction band is there. So that's the reason why electrons can jump from valency to conduction band, but not with the same ease in case of conductors, because slight energy gap is there. So ease of excitation is somewhat low. In case of semiconductor, small enough gap between the valency to conduction band, either thermal excitation, otherwise any kind of impurities when added. So that process is called doping. By this process, we can improve their conduction property. Silicon and germanium are the better examples for semiconducting materials. So these are these are able to pass current partially. Partial conduction of current is called semiconductors. So passage of current through the materials is called conductor. Allows the passage of current through them are called conductors. Insulators are nothing but which inhibit the passage or which doesn't allow the passage of current through them are called insulators. The band gap between the valency to conduction is extremely high. That's the reason why electrons are not able to jump from valency to conduction band. Insulators, the electrons in the valency bond are separated by large energy gap. The better examples for insulators are wood, plastic, glass, rubber, etc. So all these are insulating materials. There is no passage of current through them. Fermi energy gap, the energy difference between valency to conduction band. So valency to conduction band, this energy difference is taken as the Fermi energy gap. Greater the Fermi energy gap, lesser will be the conduction. There is an inverse proportionality. And the next we are going to discuss about semiconductors. Here is the topic about semiconductors. We are going to discuss about these compounds now. Semiconductors have small energy gap. The energy gap between the valency and the conduction band is 1 electron volt. Small energy gap is nothing but 1 electron volt of energy gap is there. So that's the reason why partial conduction of current is possible. Electrons can make jump from conduction band, but not with the same ease as in case of conductors. So again, we can classify these semiconductors into two types. One is intrinsic semiconductor, second is extrinsic semiconductor. So intrinsic semiconductor in the sense, so the conductor which have conduction without any addition in their pure state, if they are able to pass current, that is called intrinsic. Here we have silicon structure and germanium structure. Because of these covalent bonded electrons, so they get covalent bonded and valency bonded electrons are present. They are able to excite and they are able to show this conduction. So this is covalent bond to valency bond is there. So conduction is possible in their pure state only. Okay. So this is called intrinsic, but the extent of conduction is extremely low. And the second is about extrinsic semiconductor. Extrinsic semiconductor in the sense, here conduction is mainly due to the addition of impurities is called extrinsic semiconductor. There are two types, p type and n type. P type stands for positively charged doped conductor. N type stands for negatively charged doped conductor. First, let us discuss about N type semiconductor. N is nothing but negatively charged semiconductor, where when electrons are added, to this silicon or germanium, what happens? Electrons are moving. Due to the movement of electrons, due to the gain of electrons, the passage of current and excitation of electrons takes place from valency bond to conduction band. That's the reason why it is called negative electron charge carriers, otherwise N-type charge carriers. Okay. So in case of this N type of semiconductor, the impurity added should be group 5 element. Phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth, such a kind of elements when added to this semiconductor. So what happens? These are electron rich substances. That's the reason why electrons are added to these semiconducting materials so that passage of electrons are possible. Negative electron charge carriers are generated. That's the reason why this method is called N-type of semiconduction. Now, N-type of semiconductor is best represented in this picture where silicon atoms are joined by covalent bonds. When we are doping with phosphorus, which is the fifth group element, so phosphorus used to release electrons. These electrons are occupying interstitial position. These are called free electrons. These free electrons are used to move. So electron rich centers are generated. These are moving from one region to another region so that conduction of current is possible. These are pentavalent impurities. Fifth group elements are added as an impurity so that electronic charge will be enhanced. So this is about N type of semiconduction. In case of P type of semiconductor, so when we are taking silicon and germanium, which are doped with the third group elements. Third group elements are nothing but boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, thallium. When such elements are added, here P stands for positive and they are used to generate the holes because these will accept the electrons from this semiconducting material. When electrons are accepted, they are used to generate the holes. Passage of electrons due to the hole. Here empty space is generated because of this doping with boron or aluminium. So third group impurity when added. So what happens? They are electron deficient in nature. They have tendency to gain the electrons from the semiconductor so that their conduction is due to holes. P stands for positive. Positive is nothing but electron deficient center holes are generated. These are migrated from one region to another region so that conduction of current is possible. Here, third group elements like boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, thallium can be added so that conduction will be possible. See, this is about the mechanism of P-type and N-type of doping process where here we are taking semiconducting material, let us say it is the silicon. When it is added with boron, boron is electron deficient so that electrons present in the silicon gained by this one. So this is the conduction band and this is the valency band. Due to the introduction of this impurity, what happens? Energy gap is somewhat lowered. Energy gap when lowered, excitation of electrons are more easy. In case of this N-type of semiconduction, we are doping with phosphorus, which is electron-rich species. These electrons are easily excited into conduction band. So energy gap between the valency and conduction band will be lowered when here doping with phosphorus is possible. Here hole is generated that will accept the electrons, and here electrons are present on the pentavalent impurity so that it will release electrons to the conduction band. This is about the mechanism of P-type and N-type of doping. Now let us see what are the applications of these semiconductors. Extrinsic semiconductors are compounds having many common they are equipped in many common electrical devices. These are used as diodes. Current only in one direction. Diode used to allow the movement of current in only one direction. It may contain N-type, P-type semiconductors which are used to form a junction. So that type of PN junction diodes are generated by using this. Even transistors. So transistors are mainly used as the devices which enable the current switching. So on of current and increase and decreasing the voltage can be maintained by these transistor. So in that case also we can use this extrinsic semiconductors. In these transistors, we can use the junctions like NPN, that means N-type, P-type and N-type of semiconductors. Otherwise, P-type, N-type, P-type of semiconductors. These can be used in these transistors. Field effect transistors, these are another kind of devices which are also equipped by these semiconductors, which are used to amplify the current implementing extrinsic semiconductor. They are used to amplify the intensity of current. Those are called what field effect transistors. Other devices implementing the extrinsic semiconductors are lasers. In case of laser light passage also we are using semiconductors. Solar cells also working by the help of these semiconducting materials. Photo detectors are nothing but by using light radiation we can analyze, we can identify the new compound. Those are photo detectors. In that case also semiconductors are used. And the next is about light emitting diodes, nothing but LEDs. Nowadays LED usage is most prominent, and low energy consumption and high voltage generation is possible. Those are called light emitting diodes, LED. And thyristors, these are another type of devices which are also using these semiconducting materials. In all the fields we have semiconductor applications, especially extrinsic semiconductors have wide range of applications. Few are categorized in this picture. Solar technology we are applying semiconductors. 3D printing also we are using semiconductors. Bank ATM semiconductors are used in display. Even in the railways, internet devices, self-driving cars, we are using semiconducting materials. Here, temperature sensors are also using these semiconducting materials. All these are the major applications of semiconductors, and we are picturizing here. So this is about what differences between normal conductors, insulators, and semiconductors, and the detailed discussion about mechanism of semiconduction. Semiconductors are broadly classified into intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic semiconductors are nothing but where conduction in the pure state is possible, but the conduction is somewhat low. When we are taking external, they can be blended with some other impurity so that their efficiency will be enhanced. Those are called external. These external semiconductors only have wide range of applications. Okay, thank you for this.